After the king had been living in his palace a while and Adonai had given him rest from all his surrounding enemies, the king said to Natan the prophet, "Here, I'm living in a cedar wood palace, but the ark of God is kept in a tent?" Natan said to the king, "Go, do everything that is in your heart, for Adonai is with you." But that same night the word of Adonai came to Natan, "Go and tell my servant David that this is what Adonai says. You are going to build me a house to live in? Since the day I brought the people out of Egypt until today, I never lived in a house. Rather, I traveled in a tent and a tabernacle. Everywhere I traveled with all the people of Israel, did I ever speak a word of any of the tribes of Israel, whom I ordered to shepherd my people Israel, asking, 'Why haven't you built me a cedar wood house?' Therefore say this to my servant David, that this is what Adonai Svaot says. I took you from the sheep yards, from following the sheep, to make you chief over my people, over Israel. I have been with you wherever you went. I have destroyed all your enemies ahead of you. I am making your reputation great, like the reputations of the greatest people on earth. I will assign a place to my people Israel. I will plant them there, so that they can live in their own place without being disturbed anymore. The wicked will no longer oppress them, as they did at the beginning. And as they did from that time, I ordered judges to be over my people Israel. Instead, I will give you rest from all your enemies. Moreover, Adonai tells you that Adonai will make you a house. When your days come to an end, you will sleep with your ancestors. I will establish one of your descendants to succeed you, one of your own flesh and blood, and I will set up his rulership. He will build a house for my name, and I will establish his royal throne forever. I will be a father for him, and he will be a son for me. If he does something wrong, I will punish him. I will punish him with a rod and blows, just as everyone gets punished. Nevertheless, my grace will not leave him, as I took it away from Shaul, whom I removed before you. Thus your house and your kingdom will be made secure forever before you. Your throne will be set up forever." Natan told David all these words and described the entire vision. Then David went in, sat before Adonai, and said, "Who am I, Adonai Elohim, and what is my family that has caused you to bring me thus far? Yet in your view, Adonai Elohim, even this was too small a thing, so that you have even said that your servant's dynasty will continue on into the distant future. This is, indeed, a teaching for a man. Adonai Elohim, what more can David say to you? For you know your servant intimately, Adonai Elohim. It is for the sake of your word and in accordance with your own heart that you have done all this greatness and revealed it to your servant. Therefore you are great, Adonai, God, for there is no one like you. There is no God beside you. Everything we have heard confirms that. Who can be compared with your people, with Israel? What other nation on earth did God set out to redeem and make into a people for himself? You made yourself a reputation by doing for your land things that even for you are great and terrifying, for the sake of your people whom you redeemed for yourself from Egypt and from other nations and from their gods. You set up your people for yourself as your people forever, and you, Adonai, became their God. So now, Adonai, God, establish forever the word you have spoken to your servant and his house, so that you have promised. May your name be magnified forever, so that it will be said, Adonai Svaot is God over Israel, and the dynasty of your servant David will be set up in your presence. You, Adonai Svaot, God of Israel, have disclosed to your servant, I will build a house This is why your servant has courage to pray this prayer to you. Now, Adonai Elohim, you alone are God. Your words are truth, and you have made this wonderful promise to your servant. So may it please you to bless the family, your servant, and thereby cause it to continue forever in your presence. For you, Adonai Elohim, have said it. May your servant's family be blessed forever by your blessing. Sometime afterward, David attacked the Plishtim and subdued them. David took Mitig-Amah out of the hands of the Plishtim. He also defeated Moab, making them lie down on the ground. He measured them with a length of cord. For every 2 lengths to put to death, he designated 1 length to be kept alive. The people of Moab became subjects of David and paid tribute. David, on his way to establish his dominion as far as the Euphrates River, also defeated Hadadezer, the son of Rehob, king of Zophah. David captured 1,700 horsemen and 20,000 foot soldiers. He reserved enough horses for 100 chariots and disabled the rest. When people of Aram from Damascus came to the aid of Hadadezer, king of Zevov, David killed 22,000 men of Aram. Then David put garrisons among the people of Aram and Damascus. Aram became subjects to David and paid tribute. Adonai gave victory to David wherever he went. David took the gold shields which Hadadezer servants were wearing and brought them to Jerusalem. From Bethach and Beratah, cities of Hadadezer, King David took a great quantity of bronze. When Toi, king of Hamath, heard that David had defeated Hadadezer and Tyre's army, Toi sent Yaram, his son, to King David to greet and congratulate him on fighting and defeating Hadadezer. For Hadadezer had been at war with Toi. Yoram brought with him articles of silver, articles of gold, and articles of bronze, which King David dedicated to Adonai, along with the silver and gold that he dedicated from all the nations he conquered: Aram, Moab, the people of Ammon, the Plishtim, Amalek. The spoil came from Hadadezer, son of Rehob, king of Zovah. David gained more fame in returning and killing 18,000 men from Aram in the Salt Valley. David stationed the garrisons in Edom. He put garrisons throughout all of Edom, and all the people of Edom became subject to him. Adonai gave victory to David wherever he went. David ruled all over all Israel. David administered law and justice for all his people. Joab, the son of Zerah, was commander of the army. Jehoshaphat, the son of Ahilud, was the chief advisor. Zadok, the son of Achtuv, and Achmelech, the son of Eviatar, were Kohanim. Sraya was secretary. Benino, the son of Hoyoda, was in charge of the Kriti and Pleti, serving the king's bodyguards, and David's sons were Kohanim. David inquired, Is there anyone still alive from the family of Shaul to whom, for Jonathan's sake, I can show kindness? In Shaul's household there had been a servant named Ziba, and they summoned him to David. The king asked him, Are you Ziba? And he answered, At your service. The king said, Is there anyone still alive from the family of Shaul to whom I can show God's grace? Ziba said to the king, There is still Jonathan's son with the lame legs. The king said to him, Where is he? And Ziba answered, He's there in the house of Mechir, the son of Amiel, in Lo-Davar. King David sent and took him from the house of Mechir, the son of Amiel, in Lo-Davar. Mephibosheth, the son of Jonathan, the son of Shaul, came to David, fell on his face, and prostrated himself. David said, Mephibosheth? And he answered, Here is your servant. David said to him, Don't be afraid, for I have determined to be kind to you for the sake of Jonathan, your father. I will restore to you all the land of Shaul, your grandfather, and you will always eat at my table. He prostrated himself and said, What is your servant that he makes you pay such attention to a dead dog like me?" The king called Ziva, Shaul's servant, said to him, "I have given everything Shaul and his family own to your master's grandson. You are to work the land for him, you, your sons, and your slaves. Harvest your crops, so that your master's grandson will have food to feed his family. But Mephibosheth, your master's grandson, will always eat at my table." Ziphah had 15 sons and 20 slaves. Ziphah said to the king, "Your servant will do everything my lord the king commands his servant, although Mephibosheth has been eating at my table as one of the king's descendants." Mephibosheth had a son whose name was Micha. Everyone living in Zivah's house was a servant of Mephibosheth, but Mephibosheth lived in Jerusalem. He always ate at the king's table, and he was lame with both legs.